Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. Here's what we have in store for you on this August 6th, 2013 edition.
Tonight, Michael Hastings' wife now wants to label his murder as an accident. And some are still trying to label the Boston bombing suspects as right-wing extremists. Then, Eric Holder's Department of Justice wants to run the iTunes store? All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
And welcome back. Top story headline, Michael Hastings' wife says suspicious crash was a tragic accident.
You know, my gut here is that it was just a really tragic accident, and I'm very unlucky and the world was very unlucky.
And that ties into this. Feds visited Michael Hastings' house the day before his death. Michael Hastings, who was killed in a suspicious car crash after complaining that he was being harassed by the FBI, had his home visited by some agents from an unnamed federal agency, his friend told Infowars.com. Now, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs was on the Alex Jones radio show today, and I definitely encourage you to visit that, as well as his other appearances on the show. He tells us many things, such as he came in contact with Hastings' widow, and she said, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to bring the people responsible for this to justice. You know, she's going to go after him, she's going to go get him. But we saw in the recent clip that, at least on the surface, she seems content to think that this is some type of terrible accident. And we've shown you the video clip. The car bursts into flames before it even strikes the tree. So, you know, definitely respect her and her wishes, but I, if nothing else, would pursue Mercedes for some wrongdoing. You know, if cars just spontaneously combust, but definitely respect her and her wishes. But definitely, we all want what's, you know, best for Michael, and I think that's for the truth to come out. And thus far, I don't think we're getting that from the authorities.
Now you can watch the Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Tsarnaev narrative change. Instead of a radical Muslim, a right-wing extremist. The story follows a BBC production that aired Monday night titled The Brothers Who Bombed Boston. It's a rather provocative title, considering that the younger brother has yet to be charged and the other brother is dead and cannot defend himself. The latest slant in the brothers Tsarnaev story is marked by the departure from the previous theories as to why they supposedly planted the bomb. You know, they have the surveillance camera footage, but they're not releasing it. And now they're saying instead of being radical Muslims, they're into far right-wing literature. They're into the Second Amendment, and somehow that makes them in league with Hitler. In March, the SPLC sent a letter to Eric Holder and also Janet Napolitano, urging a task force to investigate the likes of Alex Jones, We Are Change, Oath Keepers, the Constitutional Party, and as well as many others, saying that we're domestic terror threats because we don't go along with the official story. So now, you know, because the brothers Tsarnaev allegedly watched Infowars.com, which I definitely recommend that you do as well, and we have the on saying that she enjoyed our programming, somehow that makes us accountable to them allegedly blowing things up. Once again, nobody has been convicted of any crime, and they may have been convicted in public opinion, but other than that, not at all in any actual sense of reality. Now, you see this graphic right here, and this is Jink from Young Turks, and I have no beef with Jink. The guys do a lot of good work over there at Young Turks. They report on drones and surveillance state and so forth, but they came out day one and said this is probably going to be a right-wing person, according to the Boston bombing. You remember that. And that's what the narrative is now switching to. We said a similar thing here at InfoWars, but we said it because we saw this in the TV shows, in the movies, in the video games. You know, the right-wingers, the people who can skin a buck and run a trout line, the people who like the Constitution, the people who like gun rights, these are your terrorists. And so we said because of that information, there's probably going to be a right-winger. And you remember they said they were going to announce who it was, or at least the suspects. Then they said, no, they killed that, and then came out with the brothers. And even though they're supposedly Muslim extremists, even though Syrian Girl seriously doubts that they're even Muslim, identify with that faith, but even though that doesn't matter, now there's some type of right-wing extremists, so they're right-wing extremists and Muslim radicals at the same time. And you remember we reported on this back on April 17th. Officials, Boston bombing likely carried out by domestic terrorists. So you can go back and watch those archives and see that, you know, we were right all along. They tried to spin it, so now Muslims are right-wing extremists as well. Drone strikes kill militants in Yemen. Americans urged to leave. So we see this is a situation where if you're just in an area, you just have to get out. You can't go outside your house. You can't go to a foreign country. You can't go visit your friends and family or go do journalistic reporting because drone strikes are going on everywhere and you just need to get out of the area. None of those killed on Tuesday were among the 25 names on the country's most wanted list, security officials say. So people being hit by drone strikes, even though none of the people hit were on the top 25. And you can see a map right there on your screen. And out of 74 drone strikes, the range is about between 600 and I guess around 900 total people killed. And the militants killed is estimated at best to be about 777. So you can do the math for yourself. So these are not as surgically accurate as they would like you to believe. So people are getting tired of this. You see the polls and the figures and everything, and everybody saying we're tired of the U.S. meddling in foreign affairs. And so many people got tired of this. They got together, and right here in the city of Austin, Texas, as well as around the whole United States, people got together on their bridges and freeways and said, no, we want the U.S. out of foreign affairs.
I'm Gigi Arnetta reporting for Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News, and we're standing here on an overpass at Manor Drive in Austin, Texas, where people are honking for Obama's impeachment. So what gave you guys this idea?
This is a national movement. It was started by James Neighbors, who's up in Oklahoma. We now have, we've got groups like this in all 50 states. And yeah, we're just out here trying to raise people's awareness a little bit and get them woken up to what's going on with the Obama administration and try to get him out of office.
So you believe that these are definitely not phony scandals?
Definitely not. They're felonies, you know, and we elect these folks to govern us, but not to rule us. And we have a constitution to limit the federal government's power, and they're just shredding the Constitution daily.
I want to know how many people are out there that would like to be doing something. They get frustrated. They say, well, I'm going to do something tomorrow, and I'm going to do something today, something that's going to count. You know, you got to get out of from behind the computer and go out and try to get some things done.
We're in a neighborhood where people actually told us that, oh no, you don't want to go out there. You know, there are too many people for Obama out there. But we're getting a great response, and we're going to stay out here as long as we can.
I'm going to be out here every chance I get. I took off work for this today. I mean, I'd take off work if I was sick or if I had a sick child. The Republic's sick. It needs help. That's what I'm here for.
One group near Los Angeles has 1,780 people. 1,780 people. That's incredible. One group.
And if you go to overpasses.org, you can find out more information about the event they're having August 17th. Get out and help. Help change what's happening to our Constitution. I'm Gigi Arnetta reporting for Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News.
Department of Justice wants to control iTunes Store. And what's wrong with letting the government control iTunes? After winning an antitrust lawsuit against Apple in July, the Department of Justice is attempting to gain further price control over the multinational computer corporation. If the proposed punishments go into effect, Apple would be required to have a court-appointed in-house monitor who would enforce these regulations and make sure the firm abides by them at least 10 years. If you do anything that we don't like, we're going to come in and take over your business. And I'm not vouching for Apple. They have the suicide nets around the factories because they have so many suicide because of horrible conditions. So I'm not saying these are the greatest people in the world, but just saying that, you know, the DOJ can come in and just tell you how to run your business, just like us here at InfoWars. You know, occasionally we'll have somebody post a comment on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page or on Planet InfoWars, and then the Secret Service shows up, the Texas Rangers show up, and I'm not making this up, this has actually happened, saying that somebody on your site wrote they don't like the Bush family and they may try to take them out, you know, something cryptic like that, and then they barge in here and demand to talk to us, and they get mad when we show them Alex and like, yeah, that's our boss over there. Well, I don't want to talk to that guy who's on air. Well, that's what he does. So it's just situations like that, and you can't let these people run your life. And it just makes me think, because in this particular situation, this is Apple, who has, you know, a lot of ebooks and so forth, and their main competition is Amazon. You know, Amazon's a big wig. He's hanging out at the Bilderberg conferences now, and he just bought, I believe it was the Washington Post. Yeah, it was the Washington Post. So the guys at Amazon, or at least the head, is doing very well, and now he has the DOJ watching his competition. And we'll end the news tonight with some news out of my hometown. Tulsa police, homeowner shoots armed intruder. Oh, you can't have that being national news. Police are investigating after a Tulsa homeowner shot a man who he says had broken into his home. Police say the homeowner told them that once the man got inside and was making his way to the bedroom where the homeowner's family was hiding, the homeowner fired his handgun. Officers say they'll arrest McBee on a burglary complaint once he's released from the hospital. The homeowner was not injured. You know, that's a responsibly armed citizen. You know, of course, that's not going to make any big news story because that was a man defending his family, defended himself. Only the bad guy got hurt. He didn't even kill the bad guy. He'll live to see another day. You know, he's a young guy, so he gets to live the rest of his life. And those are the kinds of stories that we like to hear, you know, more at InfoWars, but it's so much doom and gloom. And unfortunately, that's just what it is, so we have to report it. Now, move now to our quote of the day. This is from former Defense Secretary Robert Gates. I think this idea of being able to execute, in effect, an American citizen, no matter how awful, I think some check on the ability of the president to do this has merit as we look to the longer-term future, and that's from Robert Gates. Now, that's the end of this news segment. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this with James Knox. He's a telecom whistleblower. But first, if you'd like to support this broadcast and see more of it, go to prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a 15-day free trial. You get the Alex Jones radio show, the rants, the nightly news. It's all right there on prisonplanet.tv. And also go to the InfoWars shop, the InfoWars store, and pick up the new magazine. It's the new August issue. You can see it right there. It has the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman cover. So pick that up. You can buy them in bulk, 10 packs, whatever you need. You send them to the library, send them to the police station, any place where they need more literature. So that's it for this segment, and stay tuned right after this for James Knox. We have in store for you on this August 6th, 2013 edition.
Tonight, Michael Hastings' wife now wants to label his murder as an accident. And some are still trying to label the Boston bombing suspects as right-wing extremists. Then, Eric Holder's Department of Justice wants to run the iTunes store? All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
Yeah, had his home visited by some agents from an unnamed federal agency, his friend told Infowars.com. Now, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs was on the Alex Jones radio show today, and I definitely encourage you to visit that, as well as his other appearances on the show. He tells us many things, such as he came in contact with Hastings' widow, and she said, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to bring the people responsible for this to justice. You know, she's going to go after him, she's going to go get him. But we saw in the recent clip that, at least on the surface, she seems content to think that this is some type of terrible accident. And we've shown you the video clip. The car burst into flames before it even strikes the tree. So, you know, definitely respect her and her wishes. But I, if nothing else, would pursue Mercedes for some wrongdoing. You know, if cars just spontaneously combust. But definitely respect her and her wishes. But definitely, we all want what's, you know, best for Michael. And I think that's for the truth to come out. And that's why I don't think we're getting that from the authorities.
Now you can.
And welcome back. Top story headline: Michael Hastings' wife says suspicious crash was a tragic accident.
You know, my gut here is that it was just a really tragic accident, and I'm very unlucky, and the world was very unlucky.
And that ties into this. Feds visited Michael Hastings' house the day before his death. Michael Hastings, who was killed in a suspicious car crash after complaining that he was being harassed by the FBI. Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. Here's